Sorry about that, Year 10s. The fun part of working from home is when your phone falls off from the books. So coming back to where we were on about kind of going on from the handle. So we'd started putting the white colouring pencils going around there to show the shape and direction of the handle, applying the grey for it as well. Okay, so I'm just going to start to just make that as darker to lighter to show that that handle here is on top of one another there. So then I might use my black just to slightly emphasize that again, just to show that I understand that there is, you know, it goes on top, so you've got that shadow as that on top of my finger on top of there. All right, so we're just going to bring that in darker to lighter in there. And then I'm going to use my black pencil again, just to really go quite dark, because you can see on the picture it is quite dark. So don't be afraid to kind of bring in those darker tones. You know, it's where those that makes that kind of image really make it quite bold to stand it up. We can push it back with the white pencil. We can kind of show that understanding. But going darker, and especially along this line here, because it's showing that it's behind the ridge of that cup, is really important. Because remember, even though it's an image from the bird's eye view, you still have to show that you understand that it is still a 3D image. I would also use just kind of blue tones now within that black, just to make it a bit more kind of glossy, a bit more really kind of black and blue, kind of to make it really sultry, kind of stand out, I think. And then again, you can then bring those in. So again, I'm just going to use ever so lightly just those blues, very softly, and again emphasize that curves round. So I'm just going to bring that and curve that around, leaving that white edge in there, going quite dark on the edge over here, which I can then push back a little bit with my black in a minute. And again, just go slightly light round in here, and bringing that up round in there. And again, now I get my black, just to push back, that is too blue, but then use my pencil, again, just to reiterate the fact that it curves, and it curves in around, like so. And then I'm going to get my white, almost to blend it all in now. So like the white is great just to go over the top and to blend it in. You will need to sharpen your pencils numerous times when you are doing this, because you need to have nice sharp edges, just to kind of understand and to show that you understand that kind of almost pushes it back. And you can see there with that, and with those whites and with those blues, it kind of almost helps you show that you understand that that's that handle. And then you can bring that idea back now into the rim of that cup, looking at where it goes darker, and just bringing those in. You've got your base of your white. We can then bring that blue back in here again, just to kind of make it that kind of emphasizing that kind of that black and that grey. Again, let's get my grey in there, and just to kind of show the understanding. And it was a really nice contrast then to the creams, the yellows, the browns that you've got going on inside the cup. Make sure, it's really important as well, that you've got almost a white edge coming around here, and then it then being quite dark at this point to where it kind of meets the coffee creme. And you can see over here that I've started just to do that edge. And remember, the edge is it's not going to be a straight line. You've got it as a liquid, and you can see that it's almost that textured area at the base, at that kind of where it curves, it hits the rim of the cup. It's important to kind of almost keep that in. So you kind of almost want to make sure that you've got those bits happening and around in there. And I've just realised where it's hitting those points. Okay, so then you can push that bit back as well within here. All right, so it's about building those bits around and bringing it as part of those, and making sure that the edge isn't a straight edge, because remember, you're drawing liquid, so you want to make sure that you've kind of got that mark making those textures within it around all those lovely bubbles that's in here. So you can see handle, rim of glass, working on the inside of the creme of the coffee cup. Now, when it comes to doing your coffee beans, they are very dark, but we're still going to start with the same. We're going to start with a bit of yellow in here, just to make sure that when we want to leave those reflections, we can. So I'm looking at applying my yellow to where it's the lighter area. So you can see I've hit it there and there to where it's like that on the coffee bean. I'm also going to get a bit of cream on there as well. If you don't have cream, don't worry, just use maybe a lighter yellow or just stick with yellow. It'll be absolutely fine. So I'm just going to use that a bit onto there, and then I'll get my brown. And again, it's about making sure you understand the shape that you're doing, because it's 3D, isn't it? So we want to know that, make sure we're emphasizing the fact that the coffee bean curves up and around, but like a peach. Okay, so it's going to be making sure we've got those shapes and we're hitting those highlights. So that it is going to be darker that side, because it kind of comes out and around, and I'm almost going to colour in that direction to emphasize that. And you've got that highlight, but then it's going to be darker underneath there. Okay, and you can see I'm just starting to apply, just so all I've got at the moment is like that yellow and that brown, and then I'm going to emphasize it again with my black, where I know that's going to be darker in here, darker underneath here, because that's where it comes in, and darker in almost around in here. It's building up around in there. Okay, and then again darker to lighter in here, but the highlight is there, so I really don't want to lose that nice highlight that's been created in there and there. And then again, let's just blend that in with my brown. Okay, so you can see then we've got a coffee bean. Now we're going to do another coffee bean in here. Now this one's obviously going to have less detail, but what's really important is to send that coffee bean is not only underneath another coffee bean, but underneath the handle. So we need to remember about our shadows, and we get our brown in, and it's about then kind of pushing that back there and then pushing that back there. So it's going to be very dark and then pushing that into there. Okay, and then you can start to do the same again with this one. Again, looking at where your highlights are, so starting with your yellow, and then a bit of cream if you have it, just to make these lighter areas. And then again, I'm going to start with my brown, okay, and build it in and around. So I'm going to start getting that in, and I'm using my black again, because it's going to be darker into here, darker into here, and definitely darker there, because we know it's that side of the coffee cup, so that's the shadow hitting it there. Okay, so you can see we've started to build it. Now once you've done your coffee beans, we then need to look at what's around it. We can see that because they've got those shadows, so we need to kind of put those areas there as being black to push it forward. Again, on the saucer, you're going to need to kind of almost get your white in there first and going around. I would work this way up, so from your coffee beans up to this, and almost have your edge as just being very, very light. Almost get your grey and have your edges being kind of almost a grey, lighter area here. But it's working from this area here. So I'm going to get a bit of white as my base, just here. And then I really like getting a bit of the blue. Again, just a bit of the blue shadow, just picking it up, just in around, very, very lightly. Okay, continuously looking at my imagery. And then again, going to use my black again in here, just in and around, and to push it back up and around. Okay, where it needs to be darker, I can be darker, but if you start lighter and then work your way in, you don't want to overpower anything, but then you can just start to blend in and making sure the bits that you want to stand out are standing out, okay? Because remember, this is just shadow. This is the main area you want to look at. This is just to help push these bits forward, okay? So just making sure every now and then, the best thing to do is just stop, step back from the image, look at where you need to work from, look at where you need to kind of add bits to, take things away, and then go to it. If you work really closely to it all the time, sometimes it's just taking a moment, taking a break, and looking at it from afar, or getting someone else to look at it, go, look, can you just check it? Can you just see what is it I'm missing? Do I need to go darker here? Do I need to go lighter here? Is this taken away? What's the first thing you see when you look at it? Is it the coffee and the coffee beans, or is it the tone? Okay. And then that is then simply just going lighter there. I mean, I'd almost kind of just get your white and blend that in and in around there. Okay. But I wouldn't do too much around it, so I'm going to blend mine into a very light grey, okay? And then I might just then push it in, make that, because I've got a little bit, and I am cutting those bits out there to push it into black, so that that's really pushed forward. And I'm just going to emphasize that little bit of a white highlight just up there, okay? And then just bring those in and around there. So hopefully, and I apologise obviously what I've done, I'm hoping that kind of shows you roughly of what we're hoping and what I'm expecting from you. So sketching it out, adding your tea and coffee stains, and then doing a beautiful high quality colour and pencil drawing. If you have newspaper letters, we're also going to add a title, time for a tea and coffee break, but what I'm thinking is that we might do that when you get back, because then we might trim it, stick it onto the black paper, and then you might want it to be coming as part of the border within your piece. So I would probably hold off until the title page, but what you might want to do is you might want to start getting those letters for it. But all I'm asking for you is just to have this finished to a high quality. So this is Monday's lesson and Friday's lesson, and then if you could take a photograph of it and upload it to Teams for me for the following Monday. Hopefully this is helpful, and I look forward to seeing them. Thank you very much, Year 10s.